DC Comics has released Action Comics number 1000. That's 1,000 issues of the series where Superman first appeared and is the longest-running comic book of its kind. What's up, everybody? My name is Joshua Yale, and to celebrate the past 80 years of this iconic series responsible for all the superheroes we know and love today, I'm going to recap all 1,000 issues of Action Comics in 1,000 words or less, starting now. Superman made his historic debut in 1938's Action Comics number 1. Creators Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster originally envisioned Superman as a newspaper strip villain with psychic powers, but by tweaking Superman's abilities and motivations, they helped spark the superhero comic book revolution. Not that publisher National Allied Publications recognized Superman's popularity right away. In those days, Action Comics was an anthology series that also featured other early DC heroes like Zatara and Vigilante. It wasn't until Action Comics 19 that Superman was made a permanent fixture, and longer still until Action Comics became entirely devoted to the Man of Steel. Early issues added many key elements to the Superman mythos. Teen photographer Jimmy Olsen made his debut in Action Comics number 6, though he wasn't actually named until Superman number 13. Action Comics number 23 introduced both the Daily Planet and Superman's arch-nemesis Lex Luthor, who to this day remains Superman's greatest foe. Superman's abilities also began to rapidly grow in the late 30s and early 40s. Action Comics number 11 marked the first time Superman used his X-ray vision. His super breath and telescoping vision debuted in Action Comics number 20. And while these early stories were inconsistent about whether Superman could fly or just leap tall buildings in a single bound, flight became a permanent part of his kit in Action Comics number 65. Superman's universe got a lot bigger in the late 1950s. Action Comics number 241 introduced the Fortress of Solitude. Issue number 242 debuted both Brainiac and the bottled city of Kandor. Issue 252 brought Supergirl into the mix, and issue 254 gave us Bizarro. Remember that originally Action Comics featured many different superhero stories, but Superman was so popular that he pretty much became the premier character. Not wanting to increase the 10-cent cover price, DC began reducing the number of stories in each issue. Superman always got top billing each month, with other heroes like Congo Bill relegated to backup stories. And as the series moved into the 70s, these backup stories began to feature more well-known heroes like Green Arrow and Black Canary, and newcomers like the Human Target. Time out! So, we just covered about the first 500 issues of Action Comics. And yes, I may have left out one or two things, but we only used up about 300 words. And that's because after this point in time, some of Superman's most iconic and memorable stories were published, and I wanted to give those game-changing moments a little more word count love. Okay, time in! The 1980s saw the superhero comics industry shift to darker storylines, and Action Comics was no exception. Action Comics number 544 transformed both Brainiac and Lex Luthor into deadlier, more serious villains. And Action Comics number 583 capped off Alan Moore and Curt Swan's legendary tale, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. Those changes were just a prelude to the biggest overhaul to the Superman franchise to date, as writer-artist John Byrne was tapped to revamp Superman from the ground up. The 1986 miniseries Man of Steel expanded upon Superman's origin story, removing many of the sillier elements and ensuring that Superman was once again the sole survivor of Krypton. From there, Byrne took over both the monthly Superman and Action Comics titles, the latter of which focused mostly on Superman's team-ups with his fellow heroes. In 1988, DC transformed Action Comics into a weekly anthology series. In addition to short Superman stories, each issue featured a Green Lantern Corps tale and stories featuring everyone from Catwoman to Black Canary to Captain Marvel. Some of these characters were later spun off into their own books. The weekly experiment only lasted about a year, but Action Comics played home to some key developments in the Superman franchise in the 90s. The year 1992 saw the death of Superman, which rocked the comic book industry and made all of pop culture take notice. That didn't take place in Action Comics itself, but its effects were felt when an imposter Superman named the Eradicator took over the series as part of the Reign of the Superman storyline. Meanwhile, Action Comics number 662 saw Superman finally reveal his secret identity to Lois Lane following their engagement. As the new millennium dawned, Action Comics continued to join in on major crossovers like Emperor Joker, while also delivering standalone tales like the critically acclaimed Action Comics number 775. 2006 marked the start of a hugely influential run by writer Jeff Johns. Johns introduced a new movie-inspired take on General Zod, re-established Superman's connection to the Legion of Superheroes, and gave Brainiac a significant overhaul. That paved the way for the ambitious crossover New Krypton, as Superman's home planet was reborn in our solar system. Following the rise and fall of New Krypton and the events of Blackest Night, Superman's greatest enemy Lex Luthor became the star of Action Comics in a year-long storyline called The Black Ring. But the biggest change was yet to come. When DC relaunched its entire comic book line as part of the New 52 reboot in 2011, acclaimed writer Grant Morrison was tasked with crafting a new take on Superman's origin. His first 18 issues showed Superman's early days on the job and introduced a new armored costume for the Man of Steel, one that no longer featured the red trunks in an effort to modernize the suit. The New 52 Superman wasn't very well liked by fans, so people weren't that upset when he died and was replaced with the classic pre-New 52 version of Superman, who arrived as part of the DC Rebirth Initiative in 2016. This not only restored Superman's marriage to Lois Lane, it also put the spotlight on their superpowered son, John Kent. Action Comics reverted to its original numbering and played a key role in re-establishing this more classical Superman. Most significantly, the recent storyline The Oz Effect dealt with the revelation that the mysterious villain Mr. Oz is actually Superman's father, Jor-El. The Man of Steel will continue to evolve as former Marvel writer Brian Michael Bendis takes the reins of Action Comics, as well as the Superman solo series. His first order of business, giving Superman back his red trunks. A new creative direction and new underwear? What better way to kick off the next 1,000 issues of Action Comics? And that is our recap of 1,000 issues of Action Comics in 1,000 words or less. I know I left out some stuff, okay, a lot of stuff, but that's what the comments are for, where you can let us know your favorite moment from Action Comics. And for more superhero fun, check out the latest entries in my I've Got Issues video series, talking about how the death and return of Wolverine have been one big mess, and how DC is beating Marvel at the relaunch game. And be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.